So, you want to do participatory research with people with lived experience. Perhaps, like many of us, you want to respond to the call for Nothing About Us Without Us from the Disability Consumer Survivor and Peer movements. But maybe you're feeling lost in the sea of different terms used to describe participatory research. All of the co-words like co-design, co-production, co-inquiry, co-construction, or the participatory terms like participatory design and participatory action research. Don't worry, you're not alone. They can be confusing. We want to take the pain out of understanding the different levels of research participation. How? We'd like to introduce you to the ladder of participation. First put forward by Sherry Arnstein, the ladder metaphor has been used to explain levels of citizen participation, including in research. In this metaphor, for research, at the bottom of the ladder there is no or very little participation. Instead, people with lived experience are members of a group who are being researched by conventional researchers. In other words, the research is done to or on them. If we begin to go up the ladder, at the next rung, people with lived experience can express their views about the research, but have very little control over the research process, which is to say research is done for them by conventional researchers. As we continue to climb up the ladder, people with lived experience work together with conventional researchers, co-deciding through the planning, designing, conducting and dissemination of the research, which is to say research is done with them. And finally, at the top of the ladder, people with lived experience are leading the research, with or without conventional researchers, which is to say research is done by people with lived experience. Research at all steps of the ladder can contribute to our understanding of a problem or solution, but the higher up the ladder, the more participatory the research is, and the more relevant it is likely to be for the people the research is meant to assist. Okay, so what about all the different terms? Well, researchers have given different names to the different rungs of the ladder of participation. The bottom rung has been called non-participation, and the person with lived experience is described as a research participant or subject. The next rung has been called consultation or tokenism, which means that at least one person with lived experience is consulted but has no power over the process. Or perhaps a few people with lived experience are consulted and called an advisory or reference group. The next rung, where people with lived experience and conventional researchers work together, is where we start to hear the co-words, like co-design and co-production. Although these are slightly different approaches with a different history, they share many common elements. And at the top rung, research has been called lived experience-led, peer-led, or consumer-led research, as it is led by people with lived experience. If you want to know more, download the co-design and co-production Kickstarters on our webpage, or go to the next video in this series on co-design research. Comdan, making participatory research make sense.